Welcome, everyone. Happy Sunday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Sunday, January 26th, 2025. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? First two cards in our five card spread for today. All right. Knight of Cups in its reversal in combination. I was literally going to say tongue-tied before I pulled these cards out. Sun card in its reversal. It's messy. It's a messy new moon. It's a messy new moon. It's a messy new moon. Okay. There's a lot of processing, unprecedented feelings, a lot of emotions that one is feeling right now coming up to the surface. And there's a lot of this energy I just keep seeing around things. What do I do with this? 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 Right? It's complicated. It's complex. And one of the things that we see, and the nice thing about this is Aquarian energy is visionary, right? Aquarian energy can move into that place of seeing the possibilities. But the thing the reason this energy may be feeling so messy is because two things are happening simultaneously. Okay. On one end, and I keep on getting it has something to do with where Pisces is in all of this. I still got to do some further research on what's happening there. Okay. We've got all of these feelings that are coming up right now. Feelings that one does not know what to do with, right? And it, like an excess, like something that is not helpful. Like it's not helpful. And here's the thing, because I told you the water bearer energy, the Aquarian energy. What do Aquarians like to do with emotions? Aquarians like to make emotions disappear, right? That's why we call the Aquarian energy the water bearer, right? Because what does the Aquarian do? The air sign goes, look, guys, I got this trick. Look what I learned how to do. Guys, stick around. Watch this. See all this water? See all these feelings? Do you want to see something really cool? Where did they go? Where did the feelings go? I guess we'll never know. I'm magical. I can make my feelings disappear. Look, I've made them into an idea. I've made them into a plan. But why do I keep warning you guys not to disassociate right now? Because what often happens with Aquarian energy? What is the lesson and pathwork that a lot of Aquarian energy has to navigate sometimes? The feelings. Does water disappear? Do feelings disappear? No, right? Water can't disappear. Water changes forms. And the air can only hold so much water, right? It can only hold so much water. And what happens if the air makes too much water disappear? The water starts coming out in ways that you don't predict or expect, right? It comes in, it comes out like outbursts. It comes out in spaces that you don't expect, right? So we've got a little bit of this is a little bit of this like round peg in square hole energy that we're working through right now, as we approach this new moon. Because I told you, what did the full moon in Cancer create? Too many feelings. The full moon in Cancer created too many feelings. There's a lot of fish. What are we going to do with all this fish? The Aquarian energy wants to get rid of the fish, wants it just to disappear, but it can't because it doesn't know where to put it. The unnecessary feeling, something that isn't easily processed, something that there isn't a box for it. There isn't somewhere you can put it, right? And that's why we see that this is messy, but it feels, because it's messy, because this is the energy that basically says, and this is what's coming through on it. It's a very analytical reading today. Often things look messy when we're creating new systems, right? It's part in our appearance energy. It's part in our appearance energy. Now, for a lot of this energy right now in separation, this is the energy that is recognizing that this is what healing feels like. I can see some energy right now moving into like work. This is the energy that says this is how feeling is. It's not that remember I said healing doesn't feel good. Usually you can tell that you're healing because it feels really, really messy, right? And this is the energy that and remember what I told you? Being very conscientious. What was the thing to be wary of in that full moon in Cancer? The emotional indulgence. That little voice that was saying, do that terrible thing. Say it's for your healing journey. Understanding that that was the ego, like trying to be all like, I'm going to do something awful for my healing journey like, because it feels good, right? Right? This is the real healing. This is the healing of someone saying, this is the thing that's going to heal me, and it feels like a mess. This is the energy saying, I'm healing because I feel like an absolute mess. Congratulations. That's breakthrough energy. This is an energy. And what did we see? What did we see? I want you to go back to a reading a few days ago. Remember, what was the energy coming into divine union saying? What was all that Capricorn energy coming into divine union saying? It's messy, but it's mine. We heal when we claim our mess. We heal when we claim our mess. It doesn't require us to be perfect. It requires us to bless the mess. So that I see even now, there is energy that is coming out of separation, moving into divine union. And what are they saying to themselves? Does it feel easy? No, they feel like an absolute mess in the process, but they're blessing the mess. They're saying, this is the mess that's going to heal me. Because this is the energy that recognizes the difference between moving into a partnership that feels messy. And what did I say? Some of this energy is recognizing healing from a place they hoped that their manifestation was going to be, but that was requiring them to disassociate from their feelings in the process of moving towards it. What is this energy saying to each other as they move towards each other out of separation into partnership? The relationship and manifestation that is for me will not require me to disassociate from myself to move towards it. I told you, this is that energy. This is that shift out of Pluto in Capricorn into Pluto in Aquarius. And a lot of this is the energy that is embracing that messy process along the way. Now, for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, everything I keep seeing has to do with a lot of this work as it relates to, I just keep seeing, and this is we're going to start seeing, there's a little bit of blurred lines right now. I'm going to tell you, between the energy coming into divine union right now and the energy deep within divine union, because I told you yesterday there was a lot of movement that was occurring. I saw a lot of energy in separation moving into divine union. I saw a lot of energy coming into divine union, moving deeper into divine union. So there's a little bit of this space that I see that feels like some blurred lines right now as it relates to the energy moving deeper into divine union. And I will say this is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy. One of the things I see even now for some of the energy coming into divine union as well as deep within divine union, I told you, masculine. Oh, okay. Thank you. The masculine energy coming into divine union right now. What did we talk about? We talked about how a lot of the masculine energy coming into divine union right now is learning new forms of being strong and vulnerable, right? And a lot of that, I keep on hearing that's a lot of the energy that's learning not to apologize for vulnerability, right? Because when we apologize for vulnerability, we effectively articulate and say that was a mistake, right? So this is the masculine energy that's healing from that trigger that almost makes like that instinct, that protective instinct that the ego often wants to do when we come into a place where we want to be, that goes, apologize for that. Don't be like that, right? This is a lot of the energy that's learning to hold the pose. But it's not a pose, because it's not a pose when you're building a point of strength, right? It's not faking it until you make it. It's feeling it until you heal it. So I can see a lot of the energy right now of masculine going through that space of being vulnerable and being like, I feel silly. I feel stupid. I feel cringe. I feel cringe. I feel cringe. And the ego's like, let me step in. Let me step in. And what is the masculine energy doing? Buddy, I got this. No, we're not in danger. No, I'm not being attacked by a bear. These are just my feelings. I don't need you to step in. I don't need you to step in to protect me from my own feelings. That's what I hear the masculine saying as they're coming into divine union. They keep on finding those deeper levels of vulnerability. And when the ego keeps on stepping in, what is the masculine doing? They're checking their own ego and they're saying, no, buddy, I don't need you to step in to protect me from my own feelings. I don't need you to step in to protect me from my own feelings. I know you've got the best intentions, but these are not things, these are not that my feelings are not a threat to me. My feelings are not a threat to me. My feelings are not a threat to me. A lot of that openness that we see here. Feminine seeing this. This is the feminine that's learning to trust in the process, right? This is the feminine that's building into that context of seeing masculine, doing that work, feeling the difference of a masculine, right? And this is why, because the feminine having those moments that may have felt more like, what does it feel like when masculine gives them a vulnerability and pulls away, gives vulnerability and pulls away. Rocky relationships, right? That is the inconsistency point that we experience, the volatility in a relationship. It's not often the fact that, like, this is where the feminine gets wounded. It's not because the masculine isn't able to be vulnerable, but when masculine isn't able to be consistency in their vulnerability, the relationship feels like a roller coaster for the feminine because they never know what to expect from a masculine. They never know if they're going to have like the sweet openness or the hard resistance, the sweet openness or the hard resistance. So for the feminine, what happens when the feminine meets masculine that has learned to be consistent in their vulnerability? They start to heal the wounds of trust. They start to be able to feel safe again, because that's the masculine that says, rest assured, it's not just a one-time thing. This is me delivering my vulnerability to you consistently. Continuing to get clarification, center card for today's spread. We've got, boom, 9 of Pentacles in its upright. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we're seeing in separation. There's going to be a lot of conversation right now around separation, because I told you, it's not that everybody in separation right now is coming into partnership. Don't misunderstand me. But there's something very important that's happening right now in separation, with energy being very intentional in their choices. And when we are intentional with our choices, we feel good in them. We feel secure in them, even if they're not easy, right? We feel confident in them, right? Because this is the energy that is not moving. They're not just following the emotions wherever they lead, remembering that the emotions ask for things. They don't hold the directions, right? The energy that asks for things does not have the map, right? This is the energy that recognizes the space when the higher self and the emotions build into a context of clarity. Often that is the moment that we feel like we're following our bliss. And why do we feel like we're following our bliss? Because it's a moment when the higher self and the ego say, on this we can agree. They're coordinates, right? There are 2 points on the map between the higher self and the ego. Now, when we're navigating that space, it's not ideal, right? Because sometimes we have the emotions that are hollering to us and going, no, that way, I want to go back. But this is the energy that feels the weight of the difference between what the emotion, when the emotions rise up, they don't just move in the direction of the emotions, they listen to what the emotions are asking for, right? And so I see even now, again, I got 3 different modalities, the same thing I saw yesterday for the energy and separation that's occurring. There's some splitting that's happening right now in this Aquarius energy, but I like it because every modality I see here is healing. Okay. The first one is, as I said, the energy that is moving, like literally energy coming out of separation, moving into divine union. Right. And some of that energy is shifting. It's not that they've stopped feeling something about the past. They've shifted how they feel about it, because I keep hearing this energy as they move into divine union, saying to themselves, the partnership, the manifestation that is for me will not require me to disassociate in order to maintain it. That the energy that is for me will not require me to disassociate in order to maintain it. So there's a lot of this energy that is feeling and recalling, like feeling the expression of the emotions from the past, but looking back on something and saying, I was never happy there. I never found the manifestation. That feeling is not joy that I'm experiencing. It's longing for something that did not happen, right? And so that's the energy that, again, immediately heals if they look at those situations and say, I could move closer to it, but I wouldn't be able to be myself in it, right? Immediate healing. And it's not easy. It's painful. It's frustrating. It's not that you don't stop carrying it. It's how you're holding it that has changed. But this is a lot of energy that has come into a space of being able to heal something because they're experiencing what it feels like to feel the way that they hope to feel in the past, in the present, right? And often when we start to heal, you can usually tell because everything gets a heck of a lot more complicated. If you thought going on your healing journey was going to just make everything easy, I'm sorry to tell you. Sorry to tell you, wrong journey. Okay. But this is the energy that says it's complicated, but that feels right. Like it's the right type of complication. The other thing I'm seeing here, and again, same thing. I see energy coming into separation right now. Healing. And you're going to say to me, how is the energy healing in separation? Because the ability to honor each other's paths. To start to go down a road with someone, immediately hit something that feels like it's fundamental, and then gracefully come into a space of honoring each other's journey. I keep on hearing energy looking to their guides and saying that's how easy it can be. And someone saying like, yes, that's what it feels like when someone honors and respects you, even in the process of letting go. And even in that moment, deep healing that's coming through. Because something about the understanding of how easy it can be to respectfully release someone is healing something from the past where someone was trying to hold on to too tightly and force something, mindless of another person's determination point within it. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, there's one more here that's very difficult right now. And I want to send a lot of compassion to those navigating this journey, because the third iteration that I'm seeing of this lesson is someone working through something. Like I see some energy in separation right now, like looking at their guides and being like, my manifestation's on the other side of that door, isn't it? And the guides being like, yeah. And someone saying, I'm being picky because if I'm picky, I don't have to move towards it. And the guides are like, yeah, just so we're clear, that's what's happening. But what's beautiful about that is the observation of understanding that one is holding on to something. Not because it's not that what is awaiting them is ahead of them, but for the recognition that they have to let go of the past in the process of moving towards the present. There's a lot of the energy here I see that is honoring, right? They're honoring the fact that they're not ready to let go. But even in honoring the fact that they're not ready to let go, they've already started letting go because they recognize that they're holding on to something too tightly. Now, continuing to get clarification here between the fourth and fifth cards in our 5-card spread for today. We've got our 2 of Swords in its upright in combination with the Ace of Pentacles in its reversal. I just keep hearing some energy right now in separation. I keep on hearing I was holding on too tightly, or I'm holding on too tightly, or they were holding on too tightly. That's why I'm getting the 3 iterations here. These are the 3 statements that are happening here. It's like, I'm holding on too tightly. I was holding on too tightly. They were holding on too tightly. So those 3 iterations that I just said, one of those being those are the 3 different things that someone is saying right now in separation as they're navigating some of these lessons. And this is the same message that I see right now for the energy coming into divine union. Like that's that shift that I'm seeing here, because some of this energy is moving into divine union right now via the recognizing how easy it can be that when we move into divine union, it doesn't feel like we're dragging someone there kicking and screaming. It feels like we're holding hands, right? You don't have to hold on tightly to someone you're holding hands with. And that's why there's something about that lesson and message that's coming through that is helping ease a lot of that energy into divine union. While for masculine and feminine, and this is the wild part. For a lot of the energy right now, deep within divine union, this is the energy working in the ideals. And what is the energy deep within divine union saying? The exact opposite. This is the energy deep within divine union that's saying, I'm not letting go. Right? Like that's what's beautiful right now for the energy deep within divine union. This is the energy that is not working in the loosening. This is the energy working in the tightening space, right? This is the energy buckling down in that space. This is the energy holding on more tightly. But this is how the frequencies help each other because, right, as the energy coming in separation and coming into divine union is learning to loosen their grip. What is the energy within divine union doing? Working on tightening it, right? So this is they all correlate and work with one another. Continuing to get clarification between our Knight of Cups in its reversal in combination with our Sun card in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with the Wheel of Fortune in its reversal. It's not, I keep on hearing energy saying, I didn't expect it to feel this way. That's usually a sign that you're having a breakthrough. Right? When we go through any maturation process, I didn't expect it to feel this way. Right? Because what is happening? Remember what I told you? We're going through all this Aquarian energy. And what happens with Aquarian energy? What happened? Like, what does it feel like up here? It's always different in my dreams. It's always different in my dreams. It's always different. Yeah, because the dream space is not the tangible space. And so I see even now, there's a lot of energy across all the frequencies, marveling on how they feel or what they feel versus what they expected to feel, right? And that can be, it can be very profound. It can be very staggering because often, sometimes when we're going through that process, the thing with ideal is that ideal isn't real. Ideal is something that is sacred because we reach for it, but it always feels like it's imperfect to a certain extent when we bring it into reality. But being able to navigate that compassion space here, this is what, like, this is some heavy stuff, right? And we're going to talk a lot about this card when we have our class on February 19th, because it can be very, I'll put it this way. There's a lot for the energy deep within divine union. We'll start with the energy deep within divine union because it's a little counter to what everyone else is experiencing. This is a lot of the energy within divine union that is being flexible as it relates to how they hold on to things, right? Like there's adaptability here. But what's beautiful about it, and I told you, that's the energy that's working through that Aquarian energy, taking something that's hard to navigate and finding new ways to hold it, right? Working through that, becoming energetically inventive. That's why I keep seeing that's a lot of the energy that is tightening their grip on things, because this is the energy that is getting a better handle on something that is ineffable that they're energetically feeling, right? It's like the new normal kind of energy, or working through that. But we also saw the fact that for a lot of that energy, navigating and articulating upon things that may have been hard to talk about in the past. That's why I got that sense of, I kept on hearing tongue-tied, because I keep on hearing at least tongue-tied is talking. Because when we first start talking about something that we're not used to talking about, we can be a little tongue-tied, right? While for the energy coming into divine union, this is why I keep hearing the energy loosening their grip, because this is the energy that, again, if this was masculine that was vulnerable, this is the masculine that feels that wave of like the ego or the cringe that says like, say you're sorry for doing that. And masculine being like, why am I going to apologize for my feelings? And being like, and the ego goes, and the masculine goes, I'm not going to apologize for my feelings. Ego, I know you mean the best for me, but I don't need to be protected from my feelings. And it's in the moment that the masculine is able to say to themselves to check their ego, right? Checking ego doesn't mean getting rid of ego. It's having a healthy relationship with it. And this is the masculine that says to their ego, buddy, they're just my feelings. I don't need to apologize for them. I don't need to pretend they're not there. They get to hang out too. Like, you can't say you can't play to the feelings, ego. You can't say you can't play to the feelings, ego. Immediately, this is the masculine that becomes consistent to feminine. And this is how the feminine heals I told you, the wounds of trust. How are the wounds of trust formed in feminine? The masculine that feels like they're apologizing every time they come into the space that the feminine desires them to be in. The masculine that feels like they need to apologize themselves. The roller coaster that the feminine experiences when the masculine says, I care about you. Oh, that was just sorry. I love you. Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like this. Oh, I'm sorry. Right? Apologizing for something that the feminine desires from the masculine. This is the energy that is knocking down those walls between them via V, building into that sense of energetic consistency. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is in separation, a lot of this energy that we're seeing right now in separation, I told you, one of 3 different modalities that are happening right now as it relates to recognizing an obstacle, being able to see something more clearly, and it's having a profound effect on the energy in separation. And I just keep on hearing one of 2 different modalities right now. I was holding on too tightly. They were holding on too tightly. And the third one, which was, again, what feels like what is for me won't require me to hold it in an unyielding grip, right? And there's energy that's moving into divine union by feeling what alignment is and how that feels like holding hands instead of dragging someone with us every step of the way. Continuing to get clarification between our Sun card in its reversal in combination with our 9 of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify. It's bittersweet, right? This is energy that's healing and they feel like a mess in the process. This is the energy that says, it's not fair, right? And this is why, because when we navigate karma, this is why we often go through those moments. It's hard to release karma because we look at something and say, it's not fair, right? But it's in that moment of acknowledging and saying, it's not fair, that we're able to heal it, because it's the sense of saying that was the nature of the partnership, right? Like a partnership that requires one to hold on to it. Like you can have it so long as you hold on to it like this and you never let go, right? Like the energy, the amount of energy it takes to sustain something, having to hold on to something that tightly, having to like focus on it, having to try to fix it. It requires 2, right? And this is the energy that is forgiving themselves. Right? I see energy right now in separation. And this is why there may be a lot of motion here, because I can almost see some energy acknowledging how much they wanted something to be the manifestation. And in the moment that they do, they go, I forgive myself. I forgive myself for holding on so tightly, because what happens is when we hold on to something so tightly, and I can see even now, what happens when you hold on to something so tightly? You damage it, right? When you hold on to something too tightly, you damage it. And what's beautiful, I got to say this now, I can see why there may be some pain that's being released right now in separation, because that's the energy that recognizes and identifies that. I can see some energy saying, I was holding on so tightly that I hurt myself, right? Or I was holding on so tightly that I hurt that connection. Or I was holding on so tightly that I could not see what was happening, right? Like and immediately I see a lot of that energy just loosening their grip, right? But loosening, I need to point this out, loosening their grip on what they aspired and desired in a manifestation versus what they entered, like in a desired connection versus what they actually received. again, I see that, and that's why I see a lot of this energy right now moving into divine union and feeling very bittersweet along the way, because it's in that moment that we feel the manifestation that's coming towards us. We feel the feeling. I see the energy saying, this is what I wanted that to feel like. This is what I always hoped that would be, right? So a lot of that energy moving something that was hope into grief, right? This is the energy that understands that, again, why did I tell you for some of this energy right now, what were they going to be saying about their partnerships? It was the moment that I let go of the dream that I was able to walk into it. Because it's in the moment that we let go of the expectation of what was supposed to bring it forth that we find it right in front of us. And that's why I see some of this energy right now that's holding, like I tell you, I see some energy right now holding on to something tightly right now in separation and saying, I'm doing that. But even in the acknowledging, it is healing, because it is the acknowledgement point of understanding and saying to oneself, I don't want to let go. I know I know that grieving process is going to begin. It's almost the understanding that it has already begun, right? It's already, it's almost already happened, because you're in that space that you're able to, the acknowledgement it's like the moment you acknowledge it, it's already actively happening. So that's why I see even now a lot of that energy, working on that space. While for a lot of this energy right now, I'm going to tell you even now, even some energy that's coming back into separation right now, the gift of I want to say, the gift of an easy letting go process, the honoring of another's journey, something about hearing that's how easy it can be, that is amplifying and articulating what that process feels like, is restoring a place in the past where someone was holding on to something so tightly, it almost made it impossible to move away from it, right? While for masculine and feminine energy coming into deep within divine union right now, I just keep on seeing the energy that's working on making the best out of less than ideal circumstances. Working on a lot of stuff right now, because I keep telling you even now, there's a lot of energy deep within divine union having these I keep hearing messy, wet conversations, right? Because this is energy that is working on healing intimacy. But even in that ability, what happens when we're able to have an uncomfortable conversation? We become even closer to another person in the process. We feel even closer. That's why I told you this is the energy that speaks more loosely and tightens their grip in the process. Because this is the energy that feels like that tightening is not from holding on to something rigidly and refusing to see something. It's like something becomes stronger when you're looser with it and you speak more freely towards it, right? It's the paradox of intimacy, right? The more comfortable you feel, the stronger it becomes. The easier it is, the tighter it grows, right? Continuing to clarification between our 9 of Pentacles in combination with our 2 of Swords and its upright. Can I get one card to clarify, please? This is such an interesting read. It's so Aquarian, man. One card to clarify. 7 of Wands in its upright, right? There's energy right now deep within divine union pushing out of their comfort zone, right? It's a lot of this transformational energy, and transformation processes are gross. Transformation processes are gross, man. You ever see something transforming? It's always gross. It feels gross, right? A lot of that here. I even see even now, but here's the thing. The ability to talk about something that one wasn't comfortable talking about before, this is the energy that, again, even in that conversation or even in that space, it's the acknowledgement of how far one has come, right? It's just, there's a lot of, and I actually see that, one of the things about this here is I see something of almost some kind of frustration. This is where the Uranus energy is coming through for some of the energy within divine union, because I keep on hearing someone say, I wish I could talk to them about this. I wish I could have had that conversation. because there's something about this, like healing wounds of intimacy. Intimacy wounds are often formed where shame is created. And so I almost see that a lot of that energy is talking about the places where that energetic shame was created. And in that moment, it's like articulating the frustration of, what did I tell you? Often an intimacy wound is formed that when someone avoids something, they end up walking smack dab into it, right? When we don't talk about something, you can't see it. So I see even now, like there's a lot of that energy working through that space, and it's frustrating because this is the energy that holds it in a different way, and some of it becomes like it's literally like it's a lot of that Uranus energy. It's frustrating. It makes you upset because you see how easy it can be when you're in a place, but this is the energy that realizes that it's easy because they put the work in, right? While for masculine and feminine energy right now coming into divine union, a lot of this energy coming into divine union right now, once you see how easy it can be, there's no going back from it, right? Like that's the thing about it. And this is why I see that some of that energy and separation is holding on to something so tightly. I'm telling you even now, like I see some energy and separation moving towards someone and feeling a little bit of that resistance. And someone saying to them, why is this so hard for you? And they're saying, I don't know. Why? Because they recognize that in order to move towards what is for them, they have to let go of the past, right? It's messy. Healing is messy. Healing is not letting go of emotions. Healing is not when you say, oh, it's great. I don't think about that person at all. It's great. I don't even care about them anymore. It's great. It's when we look at something and say, it's really complicated. But being able to navigate that complication, I see a lot of this energy that's saying, like the complication isn't confusing them. It's the acknowledgement of complicated emotions that is moving energy either into divine union or it's helping energy prepare to move out of it. Continuing to get clarification between our Two of Swords in its upright in combination with our Ace of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. Finally, some pentacle energy, man. This is what we need right now. Listen, everybody's got to ground because the Aquarian energy really loves disassociating. The Aquarian energy just wants to crawl up into their mind palace. They want to climb up onto a mountain. They want to wait till the space people come get them. They want to they want to beam me up, Scotty. They want to go want to escape into a fantasy novel. The Aquarian energy is like, where is the fastest place I can find an escapist fantasy realm? Get me there right now. Like, the ideal is what we make. The ideal is what we create. And a lot of the work I'm going to keep telling you right now as we get closer to this messy, messy Aquarian full moon is if it's not ideal, remember ideal is what you make of unideal. It's never ideal, right? So working in that space of not just like saying it's not ideal, I'm going to go away, right? At least my work is like the work is ahead of us. The work is before us when we build into that space. And I see even now, like for a lot of this energy and separation, that sense of surprise, right? What did I tell you is happening for some of this energy and separation? It's the same thing. This is beautiful. This is why I told you this energy, the partnerships that are coming together during this Mars retrograde. Why are they warriors? Because this is the energy that says, I surrendered the dream and stepped into the dream. I surrendered the dream and stepped into the dream. I let go of my aspiration of what I wanted something to be because I saw what it was. I saw the dream opening up before my eyes. And that journey, right? It's silk to steel. Why isn't a warrior silk to steel? Because a warrior recognizes the difference between the ideal and what they imagine it to be. Right? The warrior can see through the illusion of what looks strong but is fragile versus what is strong but what looks different and is strong, right? And we talked a lot about this because a lot of this work that's happening right now, this messy, messy Mars retrograde, What did we talk about with the difference between confidence and courage? Confidence and courage are cousins. They're identical cousins. They look exactly alike, but they're never together because courage is not needed when we have surety, and confidence is surety. So a lot of this energy is recognizing as they move towards their ideal counterpart what feels right versus what looked right, right? Like I see some energy right now looking back on a past situation and said, I thought that was my manifestation, but it never felt right. It looked good. It looked the way I wanted it to look. It looked good on paper. It fit the shape. But did it feel right? Right? Because the important thing of a manifestation isn't about what you receive. It's who you are and how you feel in the space of having it. So I just keep seeing there's some partnerships right now that are forming where someone is feeling like they are moving towards a place or a person that allows them to be their authentic self. But not the person they expected, not the way they expected, not the person they were holding on to or they felt like they were trying to force it, not that space that they kept on feeling like nothing they did was right. So they had to change and change and change until suddenly they had no idea who they were anymore. This is the energy that is finding the counterpart. And the gift of the finding ideal counterpart is you can abide in the realm of your own authenticity and move in the direction of shared vision, shared ideals, shared goals, right? And that's why I keep hearing that for a lot of that energy, and there's some energy here that's even in the process of letting go, honoring the journey. This is continuing to be a lot of that work. I just keep on hearing, I let go of the dream and I stepped into the dream, right? I held on to what was integral and I became adaptable and I was able to see. Now, for a lot of this energy coming into divine union right now, that same work, this is why it feels so substantive, because I keep seeing this is masculine that is learning new ways of being consistent in their vulnerability. And what happens when masculine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. What happens when masculine gives feminine the opportunity by being consistent in their vulnerability? When masculine is consistent in their vulnerability, they give feminine the opportunity to show them they are safe there. When masculine is consistent, learns how to be consistent in their vulnerability, they give feminine the opportunity to show masculine that it is safe to be there. And when masculine is able to be consistently vulnerable to feminine, what does masculine give feminine? Masculine gives feminine the security and safety of knowing it is safe to be there. So this is the energy that is creating that stability for each other and healing in the process. While for a lot of the energy right now, deep within divine union, it's not ideal, it's what we do with it. It's not ideal, it's what we do with it. Continuing to get clarification between our Wheel of Fortune in its reversal in combination with our Nine of Swords in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. This Five of Swords, man. The thing is, man, all of this nostalgia, there's so much of this nostalgia right now. I told you, it's the remnants of the beach as a result of this Cancer full moon. What are we going to do with all this fish? There's a lot of this unprocessed feelings here, right? It was a wolf moon. It howls. The emotions go, ah, like, it's like, but here's the thing. And I like this because this is why Pluto moving into Aquarius is helping everybody. Scorpio is helping everybody right now, right? It's not the volume of the emotions that matters. It's not the volume. It's not the intensity of the feeling. What does Scorpio keep doing? Scorpio is like, excuse me. I'm here to ask you about your car's insurance. This is the energy that taps and goes, excuse me. Has something changed? Has something changed? Right? And that's why even here, this is why for the energy right now in separation, the energy is looking back on the past and saying that full moon, nothing changed. It may have just amplified something. right? The emotions, listening to the emotions instead of following the emotions, because the emotions don't know where they're going. They just go where someone made someone feel a lot of them, right? This is why trauma, like this is why we sometimes run back to trauma, because it's like, I felt a lot there. Be like, well, what did you feel? Was it good? Well, okay, different, right? This is why we sometimes can move back into spaces of trauma when we're not listening to what the emotions are asking for, where we're just going where the volume is loud. Because trauma can be very loud, but it doesn't mean that it's the right direction. So I just keep on seeing some energy that's moving into with counterpart and looking back on something and saying, that was traumatizing. That was traumatizing. Right? And that's hard. Like, that's hard when we have those moments. But again, that's how we heal. We look back on something and give ourselves the space to start to heal from it. And that's why that's the energy, looking back on something and saying that was traumatizing, because it's the energy that immediately looks at something and says, I'm in the process of healing from it. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, the reason we give each other the gift of consistency in vulnerability is because that's how we avoid traumatizing each other. And the way trauma is created is not when we're completely cold. It's not when we're completely warm. It's when we're inconsistent. It's when we cannot expect or know what it is that we receive from another. This is how trauma is formed. It is the unknowing. So a lot of that energy, this is why, this is the masculine that says, and I can even see now, this is a masculine that says, I do this for two. I learn to become emotionally vulnerable because I know that I do not need to protect myself from the feminine. My emotions are not something I need to hide. And every time that I'm consistent to the feminine in my emotions and feminine shows me it's safe to do so, it gets a little easier. What is the masculine saying now? The mantra that the feminine was saying as they were healing and moving towards masculine. I am getting stronger every day. That's a masculine saying, I'm getting stronger in learning how to be vulnerable every day. And this is the feminine that says, everything, every step I took on that journey to masculine was a lesson, was a journey in learning something more about myself. These wounds are not wounds. These flaws are facets, and every facet is one that I have learned from. And this is the journey of the feminine that says, when I find the masculine in that point of consistency and we grow together, I am no longer in a space of feeling flawed. I am a work in progress. This is the feminine that takes upon the masculine's journey that led them to the feminine. I am never late for my journey. I am always on time, right? Continuing to get clarification for masculine and feminine energy deep within divine union. A lot of that energy deep within divine union, finding new ways, right? Finding new ways to process, working on the past, assessing the past, and making those energetic changes. I just keep on seeing a lot of this energy deep within divine union. It's not messy, it's creating a new system. Like, this is the energy that says it's not messy, it's creating a new system. And so I see a lot of that energy working on creating those systems. But this is either the systems, and this could even be tangible. This could be like reorganizing right now, creating those systems within the self, or reorganizing where one carries something internally. Continuing to get clarification between our 9 of Swords in its reversal in combination with our 7 of Wands in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with the Chariot in its reversal. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. It's never ideal. It's not about ideal. It's what we do with it, right? The circumstances and situations are never ideal. They're what we do with them. And there's something about that, and that's why I said even now, the desire to disassociate is so high right now. Because all of this, I told you, this Aquarian new moon energy, it's just like I could just, the desire to just move into that escapist fantasy realm is high. But when we look at something and say, let me bring that dream into a reality. Let me take that ideal and bring it into reality and not feel like reality sullies it in the process. Everything I keep seeing here allows for a lot of that foundational work. And it's messy, but that's the difference, because when you're on the healing journey, you don't avoid a mess. A healthy healing journey is one that you're ready to get your hands dirty, right? Like, you're ready to get your hands dirty. Continuing to get clarification between our Seven of Wands and its upright in combination with our Knight of Pentacles and its upright. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Empress card, second day in a row. Second day in a row. We had, now, like yesterday, we had the Star card with the Empress energy. Now that was, I got to tell you, that's like those two cards together, they're very uncomfortable cards together. They're very different vibes. You know what I mean? But here's the thing that's beautiful about this. This is a lot of the feminine energy that is working on integration of the self, right? And that's why we saw the Star card in combination with the Empress, because I just kept hearing yesterday the feminine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to, articulating and saying that the pathwork to the self is not one that they have to remove a vulnerability. In fact, maintaining the ability to keep vulnerability, especially in experiences where they have been wounded. This is the feminine that takes with them the lesson. My vulnerability is a gift. And a masculine that is for me will honor that vulnerability is a gift, not an expectation. This is how the feminine energy is healing right now. And the masculine, for their part, the healthy masculine energy, is feeling the same way. Feeling that protectiveness. And this is the masculine that says, I learn to be consistent in my emotions, because when I learn to be consistent in my emotions, I show the feminine that it is safe for her to be with me and to be here. Because this is not something that I do not have blind spots. I mean, we all have blind spots, but this is the masculine that says, I protect feminine by seeing myself and knowing where they are. So a lot of this energy right now, building into that context, and there's a lot of this passion that I see that is occurring here. But it's the passion of self-awareness, right? And self-awareness is messy, right? Self-awareness is not based upon trying to gloss over one's failing points. Self-awareness is embracing the flaws, because in that process they become facets. Continuing to get clarification between our Five of Swords in its upright in combination with our Chariot card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification. Eight of Wands. There's something really beautiful here about embracing imperfection. Why do we work in this space? Why do we hold ourselves to this perception that we must be perfect? We don't need to be perfect. Being perfect is being self-aware of our flaws. Being perfect is recognizing our full understanding, right? Understanding those parts of ourselves. Because it's in the understanding of ourselves that we may see room for improvement, right? We may see room for improvement. We have points that we say to ourselves I don't like that about myself. I'm working on that. We have these, but that's what makes us beautiful, right? The ability to understand perfection. And again, this is perfection is boring. Perfection requires us to step further and further away from those things that make us so incredible, so unique, so special. And in that journey, and this is why when we move on that journey of our higher self, it's not one that says, oh, it's fine, I just need to become perfect. The journey to the higher self is finding the self that fully embraces the unique qualities and characteristics that make us each shine uniquely, right? It is embracing the facet of source that is us. And so what's really beautiful about this is there's a lot of this energy right now moving into partnership. And it's in the moment that they let go of perfection and remember that perfection is not a destination. Perfection is a verb. Perfection is what we bring to something. This is why I keep on hearing a lot of this energy that's moving into divine union right now. And they're not saying it's perfect. They're saying, bless this mess, because this mess is us. And for a lot of this energy, that process is not requiring one to let go of the past. It's just how one carries it, right? And so even there, like it's heavy, it's emotional. I see something getting more complicated. This is energy that looks at something and says, I'm going to move away from it, and it's going to get more complicated every step I go. Because every step I move away from something, I'm going to see it with more clarity. But that's a lot of that energy. It also says it doesn't mean I'm going in the wrong direction. If I can see something clearly, if I get further away, I'm going to say it again. If I get further away from something and you see something more clearly, that's usually a sign that you're moving in the right direction, right? And so I see even now, this is some energy that feels that complication, but also feels firm, like understands that to be the nature of it. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, I keep on hearing safe space. Safe space. Why are they saying safe space? Because this is the masculine that every time they're able to maintain and hold the pose of vulnerability with a feminine that is able to working on the healing, the place of trust, both of them pushing their envelopes. What is feminine saying to masculine? Thank you for your vulnerability. Your vulnerability is safe here. Your vulnerability is safe here. And every time masculine stays consistent and does not apologize to their vulnerability to feminine, what is the masculine saying? That was not the exception to the rule. This is who I am. That was not a one-time thing. This is who I am consistently. And this is energy that, again, it's swan energy. It feels, they say to one another, you make it easy. And it's the highest gift that they say to one another, because they say, I know how hard it is. That takes a lifetime to perfect. While for masculine and feminine energy, deep within divine union, I keep on hearing ideal, much like I said, perfection is not a destination, it's a verb. I keep on hearing ideal. Ideal is not a location, it's a direction. Ideal is not a location, it's a direction. It's the way one moves, not the place that one goes. And that's what's helping some energy not disassociate during a new moon that strongly is tempting to desire to disassociate from. Continuing to get clarification between our Chariot card in its reversal and our Empress card. I like this. This is that 2025, like honoring the no kind of energy that we were talking about. Like I keep on telling you every time we enter 2025, like these are those two cards. This is welcome to 2025, honoring your nope. Like honoring your nope. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with the Magician in its reversal, right? I love, this is great, because something that has been coming through in the messages over the last few days is you don't ascend by doing something differently, by doing something new. Sometimes you elevate by just stopping doing something. It's not about taking on more. It's just choosing not to. It's like honoring your nope. It's like honoring your nope. But I need to stress this. That doesn't mean like honoring your nope. And you understand what I'm saying here, because remember, this is a nuanced message, so make sure that you're getting it. It doesn't mean honoring your no, like I'm just not going to do anything. I'm just going to wait. Like, no, there's no waiting when you're healing. Okay. It's honoring what you are and are not available for, right? That's honestly, like that's what a lot of like, this is what we talk about when we talk about healing. It's not about being like, oh, I started doing this and now everything was great. No, sometimes you start taking on more and more and more and you get more and more overwhelmed. It's recognizing what you're not available for, what you're just not like what you're not going to be, what doesn't feel like it's helpful. And that doesn't mean that you step back from an ideal, right? You don't clock out. You don't check out. It actually means you invest more on the things that are important, right? You call your energy back so that you can put it where it needs to go. You call your energy back so that you can put it where it matters. So I feel like there's a lot of this energy here, which is why I see that so much of this work that's happening across all of the frequencies, like that's why for the energy and separation, this is why that type of work is fundamental. Because if these are experiences where someone was looking at experience from the past and saying to themselves, no matter what I did, nothing could fix it. Yes. This is energy that just goes, oh my God, I was describing the nature of the relationship. This is the energy it goes when an energy looks at something and says, and this is why sometimes when someone looks at you and they look at you with a bit of sadness when you say, nothing I could do could fix it. You have to ask yourself the question, was someone else willing to fix it, or were they happy with the way it was, right? If you say nothing I could do to fix it, this is the energy that says, oh my goodness, that was the nature of the relationship. That was the nature of the relationship. That was the nature of the relationship. No, it was the craziest thing. I just kept putting more and more attention in it, and it would just get more, and it needed more and more. That's fascinating. That's fascinating. I wonder why that was. Right? That's a lot of that energy says, I see some energy right now going, I'm healing from something. Right? And that's hard and it's heavy when we navigate that. While for masculine and feminine energy, but this is the energy that, again, how are they experiencing that? Some of that energy is moving towards something and seeing how easy it can be. When we're in alignment and we move towards each other, it feels like holding hands. It doesn't feel like a tug of war. It feels like a walk down the street. It doesn't feel like a tug of war. And if it feels like a tug of war, it's usually because someone's trying to pull in an opposite direction. While for masculine and feminine, and I just see a lot of that energy. That's why I keep saying the energy saying, as soon as I let go of the dream where I expected the dream to be, I found the dream. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, this is a lot of that energy that's doing the opposite right now, right? Pushing the envelope. But they're not pushing on each other. Do you see this? They're not pushing on each other. They're not saying, you really need to stop doing that. You need to do this. They're not poking at each other. They're working on the self. Masculine, working on that space, learning to be consistent in their vulnerability. The masculine, I told you, the warrior energy, the hardest thing I learned was I didn't have to apologize for emotions. The hardest thing I ever did was learning I could maintain the note of being vulnerable and allowing that authenticity. Because when I am consistent in my vulnerability, I give feminine the opportunity to love me there. I hold the door open. This is the masculine. It says, I hold the door open, not outside the self. I hold the door open within the self to allow the feminine the ability to love me there by being consistent with holding my emotions, holding my vulnerability and not apologizing for it, not allowing the ego to get in the way. While for feminine, this is the feminine that says to masculine, the hardest thing I ever did was learn to trust again in spaces and moving in the direction of the very place and person or energy that taught me it was not safe to trust. Because this is the feminine that says every time that I show the masculine that it is safe for them to be vulnerable with me, I am also healing my ability to trust, because I see the masculine that says, I'm not going to apologize to you. I'm not going to put you on the roller coaster ride of being open and then being shut, of being open and then being shut, feeling like I'm dropping you from a big height every time I open up to you and then I apologize and say I shouldn't have done that, right? This is how we heal. And it's hard, but it's worth it. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, it's not ideal, but I guess that's what we got to work with. Right? Like when you're deep within divine, this is why I told you this energy is not loosening. They're tightening right now. This is the energy working on having hard conversations, working on building into that context of vulnerability, because this is the energy that says when things are hard, we don't depart. We get more focused. We get more intentional. We don't avoid difficulty. And that's not the energy. And this is why I told you it feels a little bit like shadow work, because this isn't the energy that says we run straight towards the thing we're afraid of. But this is the energy that says we do that work of navigating our own self and our own shame, because it's through self-awareness that we heal, right? And there's a lot of that energy I keep on seeing that says if it's not ideal, at least our work's cut out for us. Final card in today's deck between our Nine of Wands in its reversal in combination with our Magician card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. 10 of Cups in its upright. The audacity of joy is an incredible thing. And I tell you even now, I keep on hearing this energy right now saying, I'm following my bliss. But remembering, bliss does not mean I'm doing what makes me feel good. That's not what bliss is. Bliss is not what makes one feel good. Bliss is moving towards an ideal. And when we move towards an ideal, we usually follow our bliss through gritted teeth. It's a space between our higher self and our ego. What do the higher self and ego say? On this we can agree. Right? And that coordinate is not conditional as to what's outside the self. It's conditional to what we find within the self. And so even now, I just keep on hearing for a lot of this energy right now, like I keep on hearing the sigh and the sob of some energy moving out of separation right now into divine union, and saying, in order to move towards what it is, I have to let go of what I expected something to be. That's the energy that says, I'm following my bliss wherever it leads. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation, I also see some energy right now that's still holding on to something. But what's beautiful is in the acknowledging of the fact that they're holding on to something, I can see them saying, I see that I'm holding on to this too tightly. And that's the energy that says, I know that I'm scared to let this go, because I know I can see the energy. I literally see some energy talking to their guide saying, they're right outside the door, aren't they? They're right out there. As soon as the guides are like, as soon as you step forward, yeah, it's going to be right there. And that's why the energy is saying, I don't want to step forward because I'm not yet ready to let go. But even in the acknowledging of the energy, understanding and saying to themselves, I don't want to let go, they've already begun to let go because they recognize that they're holding on to something tightly. And I got to tell you even now, I do see some energy in separation that's letting go. But even in the process of letting go, seeing how easy it can be is its own form of breakthrough, because this is the energy that says this is the gift that we give to each other when we care about one another. We make something easy every step of the way. Even in the process of letting go, we can allow the love to be there, right? While for a lot of this energy right now, coming into divine union, breakthroughs. But the breakthroughs are not happening in finding the person. The breakthroughs are happening in finding the energetic counterpart that allows one to be comfortable being oneself. So I see even now, there's some of the energy right now coming into divine union, struggling with that chicken and egg of saying, is this happening because of the work that I've done? Or have I found the right person? To which the universe always says, yes. That's the mystery, isn't it? The answer is yes. That's why it's called alignment, right? And for a lot of it right now, one of the ways I'm seeing that this is happening is the messages in terms of the mantras between masculine and feminine have flipped in some of these energies right now. Remember, feminine kept saying as they were moving towards masculine, I am getting stronger every day. Masculine was saying towards feminine, I am always on time. I'm never late for my journey. I now see masculine working on maintaining vulnerability. And what is the masculine saying? Maintaining vulnerability. I am getting stronger every day in being consistent with my vulnerability. What is feminine saying? I am exactly where I need to be. I am always on time. I am able to show up for the masculine the way they need to, because the masculine's always delivering to me in that way as well, right? Alignment. Both of these energies, how does alignment work? We find someone that helps us heal. And these are the energies that are growing together and helping each other heal along the way. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union. And that's not the energy. I need to point out, this isn't the energy being like, it's great, I found the person that's healing me. No. You understand what I'm saying? This is the energy that says they're doing the work within mutually. While for masculine and feminine energy that is deep within divine union, a lot of this energy within divine union, it's not ideal. Our work's cut out for us. Ideal is not a destination. Ideal is what you make with less than ideal circumstances and situations. And I see even now, like, a lot of that energy, it feels messy. It feels like they're pushing their own envelopes. It feels like they're doing a lot of work in relationality to processing things that they haven't felt before. But I also see a lot of that energy doing so because they know that that is how one has a breakthrough. One builds into that context by embracing the self. And even in that space, I just see that that's the energy that, like, is everybody else is loosening the grip. The energy deep within divine union is tightening it. Because this is the energy that says, make no mistake, I understand what that ideal is. Bottom of the deck on this reading, King of Swords in its reversal. I told you the thing about this right now. The thing with this, it's a messy new moon. The desire to just, like, again, if you're not in a healthy space, they like sail away, sail, like the desire to just like earmuffs, na 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 na, like, just kind of like, if I close my eye, like, this is a little bit of the remnant of the, like, I keep on telling you guys, like, Pluto and Capricorn was a lot of this, like, if I don't look at it, it'll go away. Look, we don't have to look at it. It's gone. Look, look, you can't see me. I've learned how to disappear. Like, it's a lot of that type of energy here. It's like, doesn't work anymore. Like, what are you doing? Like, it looks silly. When we talk about this, it is the issue. And we talked about, this is like something that Aquarians often have to work on, right? Aquarians are like, look, you want to see the magic trick? Look at all this water. It's gone. I don't have any emotions. Look, I can just make it disappear. Nothing disappears. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. And what happens, like, when we move something into, this is why, like, disassociating doesn't work, because we think that we're like, oh, I'm just not feeling. You're feeling. Baby, you're feeling. Like, the body keeps score. That's not my, like it goes in the unconscious and then it spits out in all kinds of weird ways. Like, this is why you want to avoid disassociating, because you're like, I'll just turn it off. You haven't turned it off. It's gone somewhere. You can't make the water disappear. Like, where did you put it? Like, where did you put it? Because you're like, it's a lot of that. So I know that, and it's going to get more amplified, especially as we get closer to this, like, little space cadet of a new moon. Because it's like, whew, just going to be, take my hair, I'm going to get on my spacesuit, practical. Ground the energy, man. Just ground it. Because, it's all too easy to want to, like, move into, like, the escapist fantasy realm. Be it like something, like, but you have to ask yourself again, is that avoiding or is that affecting? Make sure that you're putting something in a place that it feels that it has a purpose. Because often when we don't, we bottle it up. It starts coming out in ways that we don't aspire and desire it to, right? And it's okay if that happens. It's okay if it's already happening, but make sure if that's occurring that you're taking accountability for it, right? That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and sharing in it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. Booking a private reading on my website is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website, so I encourage you to do it there. Also, a couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our most recent class on the Hermit card. Our next tarot class will be held on Wednesday, February 19th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Wheel of Fortune card. I'm very excited about this class. I'll be perfectly honest, we might break it up into 2 classes. It's a lot to go over. It's a very big, complicated card. We're going to talk a bit in that class about the symbology of the card, the meaning of the card, the history of the card. I'm going to work you guys through all of the ways you can read that card in any direction it may appear in your readings. I'm also going to present to you a unique custom spread to help you channel the messages of the Wheel of Fortune into your readings. And all you need to do, if you would like to become a part of that class program, is become a paid subscriber to my Substack. Your paid subscription to my Substack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You'll also have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I will be doing a recap in each and every class on everything we've studied thus far, but the material is there for you to receive when you are ready to receive it. You will also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything that we've studied thus far. And if you are a subscriber over on the Clock app or over on the place where we keep the videos, head over to our subscriber-only Discord channel, because there you will find a special coupon code that will give you additional discount to that Substack subscription. If you become a founding member to the Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you will also receive full access to the full Tarot Church library. You'll also have access to a free one-on-one mentorship class with me, wherein I will assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your goal, meeting your personal tarot goals moving forward. One of the things I try to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience stop you from attending. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for my clients that are seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual client's personal development and spiritual goals going forward. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy now to offer dream interpretation readings. These can be purchased per dream or as a package. If you purchase the dream interpretation reading package, I would encourage you to make sure that you're keeping a dream journal. We will meet weekly or bi-weekly to read over the dream journal and to utilize the tarot to understand the symbology of the messages that are coming through the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again